The Nintendo Switch 2 is just days away from its official worldwide launch. Pretty soon it's going to be in everyone's hands. It's going to be arriving on everyone's doorsteps. Can't wait till all the Porch Pirate videos start hitting the news. This is a worldwide launch, and we're in this kind of all online digital post-consumer world. So you know that tons of shenanigans of people stealing Switch 2 deliveries are going to happen. That's just the world we live in now. Also, we're going to see videos from the leakers, those enviable folks who get a system early and flaunt their ill-gotten gains, putting up an early unboxing video for easy views. I just love watching those. Right now, us regular consumers, we don't know all the details about the new system yet. There is enough early preview event coverage from so many internet influencers that we have a general idea of what the system is like, but those systems are kind of chained down to the desk at the event. Those are like prototype units. The event was loud and impersonal. From the looks of things, sounds from several different games were booming. People were screaming their heads off over at the Mario Party Jamboree exhibit. Lighting conditions were suboptimal, and there were dozens of people walking around probably bumping into each other. So few people got a really good close look at the system or a chance to really inspect it that closely. There's a lot of details we won't actually know until the thing's in our hands. I just thought it would be fun to make a video with some predictions about it and kind of capture this moment in time before we all get one and all of our questions are finally answered. Another neat feature of the console are the magnetic Joy-Cons. They just snap right onto the sides of the console now. The Joy-Cons have steel L and R buttons that attach to permanent magnets in the console itself. But I'm curious, how do they feel? Are they cold to the touch? After repeated docking and removal, will the paint rub off or chip off? Will the plastic begin to crack? Could the steel buttons rip off the Joy-Cons completely? And with magnets in the console itself, how does that bode for the possibility of Hall effect replacement mods in Joy-Cons of the future? Is it a total non-starter? But what if Joy-Con drift happens again? I'm certain that Nintendo's redesigned the analog sticks in the unit, and it just won't be an issue in the future, most likely. Most of the stability in the new magnetic Joy-Cons comes from the shape of the Joy-Con and the slot on the sides of the console. It's a nice, tight, snug fit. One thing I noticed, nobody's commented on this yet, but there are small rubber pads at the base of the Joy-Con protrusion that are there to take up any slack in the design. I could see these rubber features becoming flattened or falling off, introducing some wiggle to the design over time. But all in all, it seems like a great stable design. Some people are worried about the strength of the connector itself, that it might break or snap off over time. It seems to have some flexibility that resists breaking off, but hopefully it's not really a weak point of the design. I'm sure they tested it, right? At the Switch 1 launch, we all thought the rail system was going to be the weak point, but it's held up pretty well. The only real problem it has is the Joy-Cons wanting to slide off too easily. I've never seen one of the rails actually break off or crack, although I always think I'm going to break something off whenever I try to detach the wrist strap accessory. I love the design of the new one. It looks like it just pops on and off of there with no effort. In all the event coverage that I've seen so far, my favorite thing to see is people trying to yank off the new Joy-Con 2s without using the little eject button. Those magnets have a lot of force, which is why I'm a little concerned about the longevity of the Joy-Con side of the connection. In every application I've seen where some designers used a glued-in magnet to keep something closed or to keep something connected, the force of the magnet always overcomes whatever glue or tape is holding the thing down. So I predict that might be the weak point, the Joy-Con side of things. One cool thing about this launch is that the Switch 2 introduces mouse gaming to console. Although it's not the very first time users have been able to use a mouse on a gaming console, the Super Nintendo mouse that came with Mario Paint, that was supported by about a dozen games or so. Likewise for the Sega Dreamcast mouse, you could play Quake 3 with a mouse on the Dreamcast, that was awesome. But only a few games actually supported it. PlayStation has supported their own mouse accessory with a smattering of games. What makes this launch different is this will be the first time that mousing is built into the control scheme of the system at launch, day one, and Nintendo's really making an effort to push it. Since every user will have what amounts to 2 optical mice, one in each hand, support for mouse gaming should be widely adopted. But that remains to be seen. Are the developers really going to use it? Looks like it. They say that Cyberpunk 2077 is supporting it already, so it's a good sign. But that said, what if it sucks or it's really poorly implemented? All the footage that I saw, people were playing it with the Pro controller only, so who knows what that's going to be like. So let's talk about the battery. The new system will have a 5200 milliamp hour battery, which has about 17% more capacity than the Switch 1 battery, but it's also pushing more pixels. The battery life estimates are like 2 to 6.5 hours compared to Switch 1's 2.5 to 6.5 hours, or the OLED's 4.5 to 9 hours. So when people start playing the Switch 2, expect to see complaints of poor longevity of the battery. People will complain they get less than 2 hours of gameplay out of the system. Expect that number to be closer to 1 or 2 hours in something like Cyberpunk in handheld mode. And expect the same thing with a network-intensive game like Mario Kart World. They're estimating the unit will have to run at about 3 or 4 watts to support these estimates, which is pretty doubtful. That's not a lot of power for what we're seeing on screen. Another thing is the screen itself. When the Switch 1 launched, complaints flooded in of the dock scratching itself in the dock. People would dock the system and pull it back out, and the screen would be scratched because of its plastic screen. Do we even know if the screen is glass or plastic on the new unit? Of all the influencers with hands-on with this thing, nobody knows if it's glass or plastic yet. What's up with that? The Switch 2 is significantly bigger than the Switch 1, which makes it slightly less portable than the last one, and even more so less portable than the Switch Lite. I predict the bigger size will make it even harder to bring with you. What was great about Game Boys and the DS Lite was that it had portability. You could actually fit it in your pocket and whip it out when you're bored somewhere. With a bigger Switch, there's no way you're keeping that thing in your pocket. You know, we all know that. Nobody puts their current Switch in their pocket. The only way you could really bring it with you is if you have a big carrying case or a backpack or a large purse or handbag, or if you have a huge pocket and a big winter coat. So Nintendo hardware is usually pretty bulletproof, but how will Switch 2 hold up over the years? Internally, Switch 1 had a particularly delicate USB-C connector that was a real pain to replace. If you ever watched a repair video on those things, it has like 2 layers to it, and it's always impossible to know if you bridged a connection. The Switch 2 having 2 USB-C ports, it adds a little to the cost, but it adds some redundancy. The question I have is, can the top USB-C connector be used to connect it to a TV? Can you dock the thing upside down? Or is the top USB-C port for accessories and charging only? If the screen is glass, how durable is it? Are we talking Gorilla Glass or ceramic coated glass? Will it shatter or crack easily? And will that add to the weight? If it's plastic, will it scratch in the dock again? Are we going to see those reports come back? Did you ever notice that everyone was all in an uproar about scratched screens when docking it like the first month of the Switch 1's life, but then it just went away completely for the past 8 years? Is it because everyone just installed screen protectors? The current zeitgeist around the Switch 2, the thing everyone's angry about is the price of the system. At $450, yeah, it's higher than Switch 1 was at launch, obviously, but the Switch 2, it's pretty packed with impressive features. It has a custom NVIDIA system on a chip. It has a handheld first 120Hz variable refresh rate HDR screen, and those proprietary patented magnetically attaching Joy-Cons. All these things are brand new tech and took a boatload of R&D to develop. With the introduction of this kind of display, it kind of raises the bar on handheld system displays. But at the same time, the market's going to be filled with this great 120Hz VRR HDR screen with such awesome new tech launching after a period of insane inflation and with tariff policies in place causing huge worldwide economic instability. $450 for what we're getting on paper, if you really add everything up, it's a pretty good deal. So probably the much bigger issue, the other issue with pricing, is $80 games. Mario Kart World is coming out at $80. Nobody really wants to pay $80 for games. That's $20 more, 30% jump from the previous $60 standard. But that $60 standard's been that price for like a couple decades now. So it's probably time. This was eventually going to happen. I think the thing that people are most upset about is that we're kind of leapfrogging the $70 standard, which was there briefly with PlayStation 5. Nintendo's come out with a $80 game here out of nowhere. But not all the games are $80, just Mario Kart World so far, and probably Tears of the Kingdom due to the $10 Switch 2 premium that they're adding on top of the $70. But anyway, those are just my observations, kind of where we're at right now. That live event was pretty cool to see it come out on YouTube and get all these people's opinions about the new system. The future looks very rosy for the Nintendo Switch 2 console. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Just wanted to share some of my thoughts. Kind of wanted to make a video, do some video editing, put something out there just to kind of preserve my thoughts and my mind state before this launch on June 5th. It's right around the corner. Probably when I put this video out, probably be a day or two away. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.